Speaking of shows, there's a brand new one that's going to be coming out on Netflix pretty soon. And it involves the trailer for Wednesday released this past week, right?
Yeah,
on a Wednesday, I
last
believe.
week. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There, of course, have been some back and forth online between people, and
People are being people.
People are being people.
People have their
I was one of them.
opinions,
but,
and
I was too, until I remembered exactly how the original cartoons done by Charles Addams, how they looked. And I'm like, Tim Burton thankfully is doing this show and nailed their comic representation. Everybody's got, Angelica Houston and Raul Julia and Chris Lloyd. They've got that version of the Addams family in their head. And of course, with John Astin and all back in the day, not a lot of people, and I'm one of those who, for the longest time, until a few years ago, was not really familiar with the original comic strip of the Addams family. And this is a comic representation more so than the old show and the old movies.
Yeah.
And I mean, this show, from the time they announced it, they were pretty clear that this show isn't going to concentrate so much on the Addams family. It's literally on Wednesday. It's her trials and tribulations in school. So when in the trailer, if you guys haven't seen it, you definitely need to go and see it. But in the trailer, you see that she gets kicked out of school because of an incident that happens in the trailer. And then she's being taken to a more specialized school, which, I mean, let's be honest, it's Wednesday Addams. She probably should have been in it in the first place, but
right.
It looks like they're taking her to Hogwarts basically for witches. And
Two things, which is weird, almost as much time has passed between the original Addams TV series and the 90s movie is now passed between the 90s movie and now this iteration of the Addams family.
Man, don't be doing that, dude.
But that's the one thing on that. Here's the other thing. This is what I was telling you. I teased this hot take.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about Netflix right now, but they get either an IP or a show or property, and they're like, "How can we shoehorn high school into this?"
Well, it's a young adult stuff.
Like the Resident Evil series I watched. I watched the pilot episode, and somehow they've worked into one of the characters has children, and they're dealing with some tribulations at high school.
Yep.
And then, of course, even though it's popular now, of course, though, it's because it's basically, I call it our generation's Happy Days, but Stranger Things, high school.
Yes.
So I mean, like it's I don't know. This is becoming like I mean I understand.
I kind of I see where you're going.
It's becoming a trend. I'm like,
it's young adult stuff, man.
I get that. I get that.
Young adult stuff has been popular since well before Twilight. Twilight kind of pushed it really hard, but
I'm not saying it's not
that
new.
stuff never dropped off. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah. But like I said, it was just interesting. I was like, how can we do Addams Family? Let's put it in high school. I want more of, like I said, I really want to see this version of all of Gomez and Morticia. Like that, it's a cool look. I like the aesthetic. Like I said, all of it, like you said, it's Burton. It's going to be very interesting. So I mean,
right.
Yeah, if you look at Luis Guzman, who's playing Gomez, if you look at him and the way Charles Addams originally drew him.
Oh yeah, he's
there. You go.
He looks more accurate than Raul Julia did.
Oh, easily
by a mile. Raul Julia, I mean, let's just face it. Raul Julia just inherently is an incredibly handsome man. I'm not saying the new guy.
No.
I mean, just Raul Julia is for he's incredibly handsome. And it's going to be interesting to see how they spin that with this. Are they going to be more background characters because this is focused on Wednesday?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, and if they are background characters, how much screen time are they going to get? Is it just going to be like, all right, cool, well, we're just going to drop you off at your new school, and then we go from there, and then it's just all focused on Wednesday. I mean, Wednesday in the trailer mentions her brother, so we're going to see Pugsley for sure. We're going to see hopefully the whole family. It would be, and one of the characters that we see just missing is Fester. Are we going to see Fester? Is Fester going to have a child like he did in the comics in this? Don't know.
I don't know that there's any indication that Fester's going to be a part of this. I haven't heard anything, and nothing was listed as far as in the cast listing.
But one thing we do know that we don't know that the role is, we know Christina Ricci's going to be in it.
Yeah, right.
We just don't know what she's going to be doing. I think she's going to be a bad guy.
Well, the rumor for Fester is Johnny Depp, right?
I haven't heard that.
Oh my God.
I have not heard that.
Ooh, I have not heard that, but now I want it.
I really want.
I mean, it is Tim Burton, so you know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a Johnny Depp and a Helen Bonham Carter at some point. Yes.
So maybe they didn't announce it because they didn't know how this whole thing was gonna turn out with Johnny Depp in the trial, and now they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's back, baby."
Yeah.
That's something I read online the other day. Of course, everything you read online is true.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You read it online.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You guys remember?
Work.
I don't know.
I mean, Tim Burton, he would make this work.
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
This makes me think of all the people in his wheelhouse that could show up if they really want to do it. We could probably get a Keaton cameo, maybe a DeVito cameo.
Ooh.
Or Helena Bonham Carter and him, are they still on good terms? I know they divorced, but are they?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they're still like working.
Is there money involved?
Yeah,
well, that's true. Yeah. Because I mean, I could see her doing I mean, she's really witchy. I could see her doing like a million things. She could be.
Well, yeah.
I mean, God.
Yeah, she's always said that that Tim has always been able to make her ugly.
She would be grandma. There you go. She would be grandma.
Well, there you go.
Because they're all
maybe she is. I mean, we've only seen a handful of the characters now.
I mean, I'm definitely going to watch it. I'm excited for it. I've always liked the Addams Family characters. I like the 2 animated movies that came out the last couple of years.
I think that probably the biggest mistake that they made with this, and I don't even know if it was a mistake, but they probably should have just dropped the trailer instead of releasing the whole press package with all the images and stuff beforehand. They should have just dropped the trailer, let us see the trailer, and then got that as the first impression, and then dropped the press packet with the image of the family together, so that we didn't get the whole misinterpretation of why does Gomez not look like Raul Julia?
Yeah.
Why didn't they find somebody that looked like Raul Julia?
Well, that's funny. Netflix is going to have the key on the Spooky Family between Wednesday and then of course I think aren't they doing the Monsters? Rob Zombie's Monsters movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I'm excited for that. I like the Addams Family. The Monsters was more my wheelhouse though. They were more silly. I like the Monsters.
Yeah.
I watched more Monsters than I did Addams Family.
I watched more Addams Family, but I love Rob Zombie. Don't get me wrong, but everything I see about this just kind of it's very appropriate for Monsters because Monsters is very B flickish.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And if he can pull it off, it's good. But it just doesn't. When I see the trailers, it just doesn't feel right.
No,
something about it doesn't.
The only one
right.
it feels right is Grandpa. Like the gentleman playing Grandpa, he is spot on.
It's not the actors. It's that the whole thing feels like this was filmed on a closed set during COVID.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. And
I think a majority of it was
good. So I'm hoping that they pull it off. But I'm really hopeful. But based on what they've shown in the trailer so far, I'll watch it for sure. I'll watch everything Rob Zombie does. I mean, I love him, but I'm just not.
I don't know. I don't know about this, and it's funny because it's they've tried to show the trailer for the Monsters in color and in black and white, and people's like you're trying to. This isn't making it any better either way you present it. So I don't know. Just
Did y'all?
So we get Addams Family and the Monsters. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
It's like back when the 90s, you would always have like they would go through the cycle of like every year you would have some sort of natural disaster movie, and then they would have the really big budget one, and then the Kmart version that came after it. They're doing this with Addams Family and Monsters.
Jumping back to Raul Julia, do you guys remember the accident that he got into during one of the fencing scenes when he was filming?
About his eye?
Yeah.
Oh,
they were practicing. They were doing the fencing scenes, and he got poked in the eye with the fence, and it popped his eye out.
Yeah.
And the man was such a pro. He grabbed his eye, stuck it back in, blinked a few times to get it back into place, and then kept going.
Yeah.
And for him, that sounds about
right.
Y'all
heard that story?
No, I've never heard that story,
wow.
but I'm not surprised one bit.
That was a man's man.
This is also the same guy who was in the Street Fighter movie while he was battling stomach cancer.
Yeah.
And the whole reason he did it was because he wanted his kids like the movie, his kids like the
kids
franchise.
like video games,
yeah, and he wanted to do something that they could remember him for, and that turned out to be one of the best role. I mean, it was definitely the best thing in that movie by far, but it was one of the best things he's ever done. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, regardless of what you think overall of the Street Fighter movie itself was kind of it was very 90s, but his performance, he just blew everybody else away.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter if it didn't make any sense for M. Bison. It was Raul Julia. It was awesome.
Yep.
So we got that to look forward to. When does that release?
I'm sure somewhere around Halloween. I'm sure.
Probably. It makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on.
I didn't catch the release date on that.
As many times as I've watched that trailer, I haven't caught the release date either.
It just says I don't think there's a date actually set, because this just states that it is set to premiere on Netflix during the fourth quarter of 2022.
Okay.
So
around Halloween.
Yeah.
No date. It doesn't. I can't find a date, at least what I'm
Okay.
looking at right here. So
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if there's nothing else on Addams Family or Wednesday, there is another show that just came out on Disney Plus that three of us have seen, and it's not going to be too spoilerish in this first episode. So we're going to talk about
Bo is the one.
Surprise.
But yeah, She-Hulk came out a couple of days ago. And I did not watch Miss Marvel. We did an episode a while back around when Moon Knight came out. Are we getting burned out on Marvel?
Mm-hmm.
Miss Marvel had held no appeal for me. I'm sure I'm gonna watch it at some point because I'm gonna need to catch up on something story wise. But She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, seemed pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Mark Ruffalo bringing back Hulk for some appearances in it. And so I'll be honest, I know She-Hulk as a character. Mm-hmm. I was not well versed in her because I was more kind of like Bo, a DC fan more than a Marvel fan growing up. So I knew she was big, tall, green Hulk, and
she's a female Hulk.
Yeah. That's all I knew about her. And I got to tell you, this first episode, man, hooked me.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
The episode's great. I love the fact, and I know you haven't seen this, Bo, but you've probably heard. I love the fact that she's the first MCU character so far that has broken the fourth wall.
Wow.
And it's because she did that in the comics. She-Hulk did that in the comics.
Well, see, this is the thing. I didn't, like I said, I was under the impression it was going to be like another drama type show, but then I found out it's actually more of a sitcom.
Yes,
that's what they categorized as a sitcom. So now that was one of the things I was kind of like, I don't know if I want another dramatic Marvel show. But this has fun. I'll check it out eventually. It's on.
I think this is going. Yes, I think this is going to be, like I said, sitcom, fun based, and not overly dramatic seriousness.
And if it's like the first episode, bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
She starts off. They're discussing a case, and her coworker or whatever, or paralegal is like, maybe you can Hulk out or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that while I'm in the courtroom or whatever. But then they're walking out of her office, and she turns around to the camera. This is when she breaks the fourth wall. She looks around at the camera. And she goes, yeah, I probably need to tell you why I'm a Hulk. Mm-hmm. And that's where they get into the backs. They show how she became a Hulk, and the whole episode focuses on her and Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely some MCU Easter eggs from Hulk's time.
Yeah.
And
it's I don't know how much
their cousins, correct?
Well,
yes, the cousins.
Cousins. Yes. Well, and they did a really good job of concentrating on the fact that in many ways she's better than Hulk. Like,
she's very different. She's a different Hulk.
Yes,
she's a different. Because she gets turned by basically she mixes blood with his. Like she has an open wound. They get into an accident. He has an open wound. He bleeds. He's he's got himself. He's got like a what did he call it? A nullifier or something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, a prototype on his hand that keeps
and
him
he's
from turning into
keeping
Hulk.
himself human so that he can bleed. And so he gets in an accident, bleeds on her in an open wound that she has. They mix blood, and then because of the way that they metabolize, that they have something in their genetic code, she turns into Hulk. And the thing is she's better in that she can just she doesn't have to fight Hulk. She can control it. She doesn't have a second personality,
right?
Like
Yeah,
Hulk
the
does.
second, yeah.
And so she can be in and out of Hulk just like that. So she's going to be a lot more convenient. Well, she's just going to be a lot more convenient overall than Hulk is.
And Bruce is trying to prepare. Yeah, Bruce trying to prepare for what he figures is a long journey into teaching her about the ways.
He literally has a manual that he's put together.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
and he like starts ripping like the first 4 years out. He's like, yeah, this is going to take you about. I'm figuring we could probably get it 10 years to learn. And she's like,
and then she starts acting normal and doing things that he's not expecting. He's like, well, this is different.
Yeah, so he's
this is really different. But the one of the fun things you do is you get to see them fight. They finally, she's had enough of him, he's had enough of her, and they go at it, and it's just two Hulks beating on each other, and it's great.
Yeah, I was literally in that episode. I was like, well, it was a nice island.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be after this, but the fight didn't last very long.
Yeah,
but it was basically like a match of bravado in a way. I mean, Disney did a really good job, or Marvel in this case, did a really good job showing that she was just as strong, just as capable, if not stronger than he is within one episode. So that we feel comfortable that when Bruce is no longer really in the picture for the rest of this, for the series, which I'm assuming that's probably what's going to be the case. He's going to be back.
Yeah, he was listed as a special guest star.
Yeah, so he won't be back. We'll be confident, like, okay, this is going to be a good Hulk. This is going to be good. And the fact that she can just turn it into Hulk whenever she wants to, that's awesome.
Yeah,
she doesn't get she gets angry, and that's kind of the trigger. But it's going to be interesting to see that from a female perspective. Like the controlling of the anger, and then the different triggers, and how she references how she's a female in the legal system, and that she has to also deal with catcalling, and then she has to deal with this, and then Bruce is like, yeah, this is one of the reasons that we need to make sure that you're trained, because I don't want someone catcalling, and then all of a sudden you Hulk out and throw them across a bridge or something.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that. This is where Marvel did a really fantastic job with presenting the struggles that women in particular have had to deal with over the course of years, from men. I mean, it's just anybody who watched that documentary about Woodstock 99 on Netflix.
I still need to watch that.
Seeing just how testosterone-filled guys, treated women, and he was, and going back to Hulk was like, how are you able to control this? How are you able to keep your composure and stuff? And she lays out very distinctly, very in very plain English, this is what I as a woman have had to deal with in dealing with men, and I can handle this better than you because I'm stronger than you in this area, because I've had to be.
Yeah.
And they did a beautiful job of highlighting women's struggles.
Yeah.
Just in this one scene about how she's able to maintain her composure and her anger. And it was beautifully done. And it was an important topic. It was an important thing that they needed to highlight.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't overdo it.
No, not
just
at all.
I mean,
it was more,
whether you were a guy or a woman. If you're a woman, obviously you're going to respect it, and you're going to be going, and if me as a guy, I'm a guy, and I'm watching it going, that's legit, and I feel it, and I feel it. I can definitely tell. I mean, I've had women in my life that they've said the same thing. We don't have to deal with that, but it's a huge deal, and it's definitely going to play into how her Hulk works. There could be some scenes coming up in an episode where she's doing just that, where she's walking across the street, and all of a sudden you see her just kind of turn green, and they're like, the guy just kind of freaks out a little bit. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. and as they finish the backstory, and she's actually leaving, she, like I said, when she turns around, she said, "So let me explain how I became a Hulk." After that part of the show is, and these episodes are only just over a half hour long. They're not long at all. 38 minutes, I think, was the total runtime for it.
Yeah.
That was the first episode, though. That they vary. The
Yeah.
episode lengths will vary. Yeah.
Yeah. But as they finish her backstory, you get a quick rundown of who she is, how she's turned into this, how she's handling it.
Mm-hmm.
Then she turns around back to the camera, back in her office, and she goes, "Okay, now it's time for a lawyer show." And then she goes to the to the courtroom. So I think it's going to definitely be a sitcom lawyer show, and I'm looking forward to it. I think she's going to be an incredible character from here on out.
Have they talked about like what they feel like her future is going to be? Like, do we know if she's going to be an Avenger, or if she's going to be
part
more
of the new Avengers, I believe.
Okay, so she's not going to be a street level like Daredevil, which Daredevil's kind of street level that they've already.
Like I said, if she's a She-Hulk, she's going to be she needs to be one. I believe she's one of the more forefronter ones. I mean, it's
yeah.
If you go by power base, yeah, she needs to be one of the big Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I highly recommend the show. If you haven't seen the first episode yet, please do so. We did not spoil. There was no way to really spoil this first episode because it's setting up her backstory.
Mm-hmm.
There was no real plot,
right?
To dive into. There will be going forward, but definitely check it out. Highly recommended. Matter of fact, I already went to Hasbro Pulse and ordered her action figure.
That's cool. If you guys if you're on the Bama Geeks Front Porch Facebook group, we'd love to hear what you think about it. I mean, if you guys want to do a discussion and just talk about it, we'd love to hear your feedback and just see if you agree with us or if you disagree with us. It was a poor episode, we'd love to know.
Yep.
I was going to say most of the people that I have seen talk about it has had good things to say about it, and of course, a lot of people are like, don't believe somebody evidently, and I didn't read it, but I heard that there was some terrible review that was had been put out there, and people are like, I've heard
There's
nothing but
somebody.
Positive. Yeah, always. Well, there's always going to be somebody. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but definitely give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to really like, especially these days, a Marvel show or a Marvel movie for me to buy an action figure out of it, which I have not bought a Marvel figure in quite a while.
Yeah.
As soon as this episode was over,
he was. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I like her.
He was immediately searching out that action figure.
This show kind of feels like it kind of feels like Disney and Marvel are kind of stretching their legs and they're like, all right, cool. We're going to get into a sitcom mode so that we can prepare everybody for how we're going to deliver Deadpool.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because Deadpool is very sitcom-ish, that's Deadpool in general. So that, we can establish that Deadpool in our universe wasn't the first one to break the fourth wall. It was She-Hulk. And then
she and Wade had a relationship at one point in the comics I saw.
Okay.
Makes sense.
That would be interesting.
Does make sense.
That'd be interesting to see that come back up in MCU. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.